Our buses were lined up next to each other, right? And Larry goes, "Hey man, don't ever put that guy on me." Larry.
And he says, "Man, that's an insult. What you guys just did to me." Like, what you mean? That's an insult. He says, "You guys put a white boy on me."
Bird as the biggest shit talker back in the 80s.
Right.
But we had Worthy on our show. We had AC on the show. And we had Coop on the show. They said it's the Three Musketeers. It was the Three Musketeers that started all of that back in the 80s.
So let me tell you what has happened.
Larry Bird's trash talk was so vicious it felt premeditated, like a Midwest mob hit delivered in plain English. He'd saunter past your bench, glance at your jersey number, and spit out a line so accurate you started questioning your career choices before the opening tip. This wasn't casual chirping. Bird aimed below the belt and above the box score, mocking your coach's substitutions, tagging you with nicknames you hated, promising to embarrass the rookie your GM just drafted, all in a flat Indiana drawl that somehow cut louder than a stadium PA. He greeted rookies by predicting the size of the towel they'd need after he ran them ragged. He reminded All-Stars how many zeros he'd already put on their highlight reels and dared them to double the total. By the time social media arrived, Bird's bravado was already folklore traded in locker rooms like contraband. Today, we're not rolling stats, we're rolling punchlines. From limo ride warnings to bench-wide roast sessions, these 12 stories prove Bird's tongue drew more blood than his elbows ever did. So settle in, mute the playbook, and let the hick from French Lick run his mouth one more time, through the voices of the players who never figured out how to shut him up. Some trash talk happens during the game, some happens at practice, and then there's Larry Bird trash talk, so cold, so calculated, it started in a limo before the jerseys even came out. Back in 1992, Chris Webber was just a college kid, part of a select team of rising stars chosen to scrimmage against the original Dream Team. Magic, Jordan, Barkley, Robinson, Ewing, and of course, Larry Bird. These weren't just NBA All-Stars, these were global icons, walking nightmares in sneakers. For Webber, the assignment was simple: survive. But before the scrimmage even started, before a single screen was set, Webber found himself sharing a limo with one of the most feared competitors the league has ever known. And true to form, Bird didn't wait for the arena to start his work.
I get in the car and it's Larry Bird. And I shake his hand, I'm quiet, trying to feel that balance in the car and everything. And it's the old school limo sitting in the back. And when we get out, he doesn't say much, but when we get out, he goes, "Hope you get your sleep tonight, because I'm gonna bust your ass tomorrow."
That's it. No warm-up, no questions about college, no "how you feeling, Rook?" Just a verbal sneak attack with all the casual menace of a horror movie one-liner. Bird didn't care that Webber was still technically a kid. Didn't care that it was just a scrimmage. Didn't care that he had back problems and barely moved like he used to. He was Larry Bird. If he was lacing them up, it meant one thing: you were about to get cooked, and he was going to tell you about it before he even untied his warm-ups. And remember, this wasn't some meaningless gym run. The Dream Team scrimmages were legendary for their intensity. Guys going full tilt just to prove a point. And Bird, he didn't need to prove anything. But that didn't mean he'd pass up the chance to humble a top prospect before breakfast. Imagine being Webber, one of the best college players in the world, stepping out of a limo thinking you're about to gain some experience and instead getting handed a prophecy. Bird wasn't just talking smack. He was forecasting your funeral and handing you the pillow for your pregame nap. Trash talk usually stays between players. You might call out your defender. You might chirp at a teammate for help. But Larry Bird, he broke the fourth wall. He didn't just go after you. He went straight at your coach. Mid-80s, Celtics versus Knicks at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. The lights are bright, the crowd is rowdy, and Larry's already cooking. But then, as he walks over to inbound the ball, he sees who's coming off the Knicks bench. That's when Bird decides to pause the game and address the grown man wearing a suit.
My favorite trash talking by Larry, and Kevin was a pretty good trash talker too, but Larry was when they trash talk coaches, like when they trash talk Hubie Brown, and they're sitting there playing in Madison Square Garden, and he's just going like taking the ball out of bounds in front of their bench, so the whole bench can hear him,
right?
And go like, "Hubie, this all you got for me tonight? Like you got no one else that can guard me?" this is getting ridiculous, you know, and then Hubie would put in, like, Johnny Newman would be running in the game. He goes, wait, are you serious? That's the guy you're putting on me?
Danny Ainge tells the story like it still makes him laugh, and you can picture it. Bird standing there, hands on the ball, not even pretending to whisper. Just loud enough for the entire Knicks bench to hear it. Loud enough for the guy checking in to hear it. Loud enough for Hubie to hear it and start rethinking his entire substitution strategy. Because here's the thing. Bird wasn't reacting to who was guarding him. He was preemptively disappointed. The man hadn't even entered the game yet, and Larry was already calling him unqualified. Imagine warming up to check in and hearing that the guy you're supposed to guard just laughed in your face before the whistle blew. That's psychological warfare at its finest, and you knew what was coming next. Larry wasn't just going to score on you, he was going to make sure your coach felt every bucket personally. Every jumper was going to be a message, not to the defender, but to the clipboard. This wasn't just trash talk. It was a one-man press conference held courtside. And Hubie Brown? He heard every word. You could be a coach, a teammate, or a rookie on the floor, it didn't matter. If Larry Bird thought you disrespected the matchup, you were going to hear about it, and then you were going to pay for it. Just ask Isaiah Thomas. It's Celtics versus Pistons at the old Silverdome. The game's just getting underway, and Thomas's Pistons send out a new defender to check Bird. Maybe it was a tactical choice. Maybe it was all they had in the rotation. But to Larry, it was personal.
We walk out on the court, and Benson is guarding Larry, right? And Larry looks at me and he was calling me cheesy. He goes, cheesy, like you putting him on me? He said, you putting him on me? I was like, that's all I got, man. That's all I got right now. And he goes, I'm taking right down to the baseline. I'm shooting right over him. So after the game, our buses were lined up next to each other, right? And Larry goes, hey man, don't ever put that guy on me. Right?
This wasn't just smack talk. This was premeditated punishment. Bird didn't just laugh at the matchup. He announced exactly what he was going to do to it. No tricks, no surprises. He gave Thomas the GPS coordinates, walked the route, pulled up from the baseline, and hit the shot like it was a drill. And then after the buzzer, just to make sure the lesson stuck, he circled back. That's a different level of disrespect. Not to the defender, but to the decision itself. To Bird, defensive matchups were statements. If you sent the wrong guy, you were sending the message that you didn't respect what he could do. And he was going to make sure you regretted that assumption, loudly and efficiently. And in Thomas's case, that meant getting called out, then cooked, then reminded after the game why you should never, ever try that again. There's trash talk. Then there's play-by-play trash talk while you're actively dismantling a Hall of Fame defense. That was Larry Bird. Mid-80s, Celtics versus Lakers. The rivalry is hot, the finals tension is baked in, and Michael Cooper, a Defensive Player of the Year and Laker defensive specialist, is strapped in for a night of guarding one of the league's most ruthless assassins. And Bird, before the ball is even live, sets the tone.
I'll give you one story that he told me. We're playing in 1985. And he's coming down and he looks at me and he goes, Coop, I'm getting ready to wear your ass out. So I get in my best defensive stance and he's on the bottom and Robert Parrish comes down to set a pick on him. And Larry goes off the pick and I fight through the pick and I'm there. And as soon as he catches the ball, he turns and he goes up. And Kareem, knowing that, Kareem steps off of Parrish, so we got him. And I'm saying to myself, I got this fucker, man. I got him. I'm getting ready to pack his shot. So we both go up, Kareem and I, and Larry's up in the air. And I don't know how he got this ball between our hands, but he hits Robert Parrish with a great pass, and Parrish scores. And as Parrish scores, we're going down the court. He said, I told you, mother.
That's not smack. That's a mission statement. So Coop digs in. He gets in his stance, fights through the pick. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar steps up to help. Two legends collapsing on one man. That's good defense. That's a smart rotation. But Larry, he's still in the air, somehow still in the air. And while hovering between double coverage and the laws of physics, he threads a no-look dime to Robert Parrish for the bucket. Then turns to Cooper and drops the finisher. That's the thing with Bird. The shot didn't even have to come from him. He could cook you without scoring. He could break you down, draw a crowd, shift the defense, then cash the receipt with a pass so precise it felt scripted. Cooper and Kareem both played it perfectly, and still got torched. That was Bird's real superpower. He didn't just talk the talk. He narrated your failure in real time. And by the time you realized what happened, he was already jogging back on defense, shaking his head like you were the one who said something crazy. There are ways to welcome a rookie to the NBA. Then there's Larry Bird's way. Dominique Wilkins entered the league with bounce, confidence, and the kind of athleticism that made highlight reels feel like mixtapes. But none of that mattered to Bird, because to Larry, every rookie was just another name on the list, and every first impression was a chance to ruin one. So on the very first possession of their very first matchup, Wilkins checks him. Eager, ready, and locked in. And without hesitation, Bird looks him dead in the eye and delivers the line.
One of the things, the first thing, I think really the only thing he said to me, I'm guarding him. It's my first play, he's coming down the court and I'm guarding him. He looks at me, he said, I don't know why they have you guarding me, Holmes. And he shoots the three. Now, I wasn't upset he made the three. I said, but this son of a gun just called me Holmes.
No pump fake, no hesitation. Just a quick insult paired with a deep three, bottoms. Dominique wasn't even mad about the shot. He was still stuck on the delivery. And that's the beauty of Bird's trash talk. It wasn't always loud. It wasn't even angry. It was so casual that it made you question your own job description. This wasn't just about getting scored on. This was about being disrespected while the ball was still in the air. Bird didn't need to size you up. He'd already decided how the play was going to end, and then made sure you knew it before it happened. For Dominique, it was his first taste of Larry. For Larry, it was just Tuesday. There's confidence. And then there's giving the other team your exact shot location, like it's an item on a grocery list and still hitting it in their face. That's what Doc Rivers experienced back then. It wasn't just that Larry Bird could score. It's that he told you how it was going to happen, where it was going to happen, and why. And then calmly walked into the moment like it was a formality. Doc sets the scene. Players lined up, tension building. Most guys take the moment to breathe, reset, maybe glance at the scoreboard. Not Larry.
Nobody was guarding Bird, were they?
Well, we were trying.
You were trying to.
No, but when a guy is literally coming up the court, calling his shots, and Bird talked a lot of trash.
And that's in New Orleans.
That's in New Orleans. In that game, we're on the free throw line, and he literally says, left side across the three, and you're listening to him. That's a tough feeling.
That's not coded language. That's not a vague threat. That's a GPS pin with the shooter's name on it. And the best part, everyone heard it. The defenders, the teammates, the coaches, and the crowd. It was a public service announcement. Bird didn't whisper, he broadcasted. Simple as that. Doc doesn't even try to explain it further, because there isn't an explanation. Bird's game wasn't just talent, it was timing, memory, and a sixth sense for humiliation. He wanted you to remember how helpless you were. And by calling his shot out loud, he made sure you'd replay it forever. Doc wasn't being lazy on defense, he was being outscripted. And by the time the ball dropped through the net, Bird was already jogging back, the only man in the building who wasn't surprised. There are clutch players, and then there's Larry Bird, who wasn't just clutch, he was cosmic. The man didn't just hit game winners, he called them like a play-by-play announcer before the ball was even inbounds. That's what Byron Scott had to deal with. Lakers versus Celtics, final possession. Game hanging in the balance. Everyone knows the ball's going to Larry. The only question is how. Bird answers that too. Before the ref hands the ball to the inbounder, he turns and casually tells the Lakers the plan.
So we playing them in the last play. He says to James Worthy, he says, you guys don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go right over that corner. He said, they're going to set a screen for me. We're taking the ball out. He said, I'm going to curl right over. And he's telling us to play. He's telling us to play before they even take it out. He said, I'm going to go right over to that corner, and I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to shoot it, and I'm going to tie the game or win the game, whatever the case may be. They take the ball out, and I think it was either Danny or
DJ,
the late, great DJ.
Yeah.
Take the ball out, the man curl right to the corner, caught the shot, shot a three, game over. It's like, are you effing kidding me?
That's not confidence. That's clairvoyance. No bluff, no hesitation. Bird narrates the exact movement, screen, curl, catch, and shoot. And the Lakers know it's coming. They try to deny it. They try to fight through it. It's one thing to get beat by a great player. It's another to get beat after he tells you step by step how he's going to do it. And that's what made Bird different. His game winners weren't miracles. They were scripts, written, directed, and executed by the man himself. No surprises, just inevitability. Larry Bird never cared who you were. If you were between him and the basket, he was going to tell you exactly how little that meant. And sometimes, the trash talk wasn't even meant for the guy guarding him. Mid-game, Celtics versus Lakers. It's a free throw break. Larry's standing near the Lakers bench scanning the court. That's when he spots who's been sent to guard him. Mark Landsberger. Solid role player. Not exactly a household name. James Worthy remembers it vividly.
And I heard he's done this to other teams too, but we had a guy on our team, Mark Landsberger, I think it was. So we put Mark in the game, and he's gonna guard Larry. And so it was a free throw, so Larry was down near our bench. And he says, man, that's an insult. What you guys just did to me. Like, what you mean? That's an insult. He says, you guys put a white boy on me.
It's not about race, it's about respect. To Larry, it wasn't just about who you sent, it was about what that choice said. Putting someone like Landsberger on him was, in Bird's mind, a clear message. You don't take me seriously. And Bird made sure they felt the consequences of that decision. Because once he delivered the line, he went back to business, backing his man down, hitting the shot, and jogging back with a smirk that said, I warned you. This wasn't just trash talk, it was disdain, surgical, unapologetic, and savage. Bird didn't just expect the best defenders, he demanded them. And if you didn't bring one, he'd embarrass the guy you sent, and then shame you for sending him. When Magic Johnson tells a story about trash talk, you listen. The man played with flair, emotion, and unmatched charisma, and he gave as good as he got. But there was one guy who could match him word for word, bucket for bucket, and then look him in the eyes, Larry Bird. Magic doesn't even try to spin it. He just tells the story like a man who lived through something he still can't fully explain.
Right before they go out on the court, Larry comes down, he says, you know what? Don't worry, I'm gonna put a show on for you. And he went out, I think he scored 38 points, about 20 rebounds, about 15 assists. And every shot he would shoot, he would turn to me. And I said, boy.
That's not a stat line, that's a massacre. And it came with commentary. Bird didn't just play well, he gave Magic a one-man performance, narrating the whole thing with looks, gestures, and a slow drip of humiliation. Every shot, followed by eye contact, every bucket, a reminder that Bird told him this was coming. He didn't scream, he didn't flex, he just made sure Magic witnessed it. And when one of the greatest point guards in NBA history is left shaking his head, stunned speechless, you know you've crossed from trash talk into mythology. Bird didn't just deliver a show, he made Magic sit in the front row. Shawn Kemp, the Rainman, was one of the most explosive players in the league. Power dunks, chase down blocks, highlight after highlight. But even the highest flyers land eventually, especially when Larry Bird decides to clip your wings with nothing but footwork, feel, and a little flat-footed prophecy. Kemp tells it straight, like he's still shaking his head about it.
Tell y'all this, man. I'm gonna tell you this, man. He was actually calling out bank shots. He would say, next time, bank shot left side. I'm gonna pump fake you. Your dumb ass gonna go for it. I'm gonna air one.
He would tell you that, and it happens.
And I said, first of all, I'm gonna be so close to you. If you shoot the ball next time, I'm gonna try to rip your arm off your sock. And what you think he did, man? A quick pump fake, dog, and he go for that shit here.
Bird didn't just predict the move, he gave the full tutorial. Direction, shot type, setup, reaction. Kemp's thinking, no way. He's ready. He's athletic. He's dialed in. But none of that matters. Because right on cue, quick pump fake, Kemp lunges, and boom. Bird cashes it, walks off like it's routine, and never even cracks a smile. This wasn't speed, wasn't strength, wasn't flash. It was Larry Bird doing Larry Bird things, making elite defenders look like extras in his instructional video. Kemp wasn't embarrassed, he was educated. And Larry? He didn't need to dunk on you. He'd explain the bucket beforehand, then do it exactly like he said. With a bank, with a blueprint, and with the coldest I told you so the league's ever seen. Gary Payton was the glove, a defensive menace, relentless trash talker, and one of the few players who could get under just about anyone's skin. Except Larry Bird didn't flinch, he didn't bark back, he just delivered with a bow on top. Late 80s, Celtics versus Sonics, it's around the holidays. The kind of game where guys are either checked out or full of cheer. Bird? He was full of something else entirely. Gary sets the scene, he's locked in, guarding Bird in the post. And then Larry leans in, cool as ever, and gives him his own scouting report and a holiday card.
He was cold, man. He'll tell you like this. He'll bend down, say it soft to you. He's like, you know what? I don't know what you got for Christmas, but I know what I'm going to give you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on this block. I'm going to dribble 2 times, and then I'm going to pull up in your face, and the neck going to say, shoo, and then that'll be your Christmas present for me. I was like, whoa.
Peyton, who never shuts up, was stunned. Bird didn't just give him the move. He told him the sound the net was going to make, and sure enough, 2 dribbles, pull up. Nothing but net. Gift delivered. Receipt not needed. That's the thing with Bird. He didn't need to shout to cut you down. He'd just whisper a prophecy, then hand you the result, neatly wrapped with a little holiday punctuation. Even the glove couldn't get a grip on that one. Reggie Miller knows a thing or two about trash talk. He built a career off clutch threes and cold one-liners, especially when the lights were brightest. But even Reggie had to tip his hat to Larry Bird, because Bird didn't just talk, he punctuated. It was Christmas Day, 1992. Pacers versus Celtics. Reggie's teammate Chuck Person had already exchanged words with Larry earlier that season. Plenty of back and forth between 2 guys who never backed down from a verbal war. So when the Celtics came to town for that holiday matchup, Bird already had the gift wrapped and ready.
They had battles in terms of talking. Yeah, the one I remember was when you told Chuck, I'm going to go right here in front of our bench. Yeah. I'm going to shoot on this spot, and I'm going to drain it. And he said, Merry Christmas.
That was it. No yelling, no theatrics, just a declaration. And of course, he did it right in front of Indiana's bench, right in front of Chuck, and right on cue. Bird didn't just call his shot. He gift-wrapped it. No celebration. Just that 2-word mic drop, soft and deadly. Reggie had nothing to add. Because really, what do you say to a guy who hands you the ending before the scene starts, and then nails the script on the first take? With Larry Bird, the holidays weren't about joy or peace. They were about precision. And Payne shot callers are common, shot prophets are rare. Bird didn't just predict what, he predicted where, how, and why, then cashed every forecast while defenders were still processing the sentence. Decades later, these legends still laugh, wince, and shake their heads because there's no comeback for a guy who hands you the script and still wins the scene. So the next time someone downplays Larry's athleticism, roll these stories. They prove the most dangerous weapon in basketball might be a perfect jumper paired with a tongue that never misses either. Legend certified.